Hello, and welcome to a video that I probably could have filmed in less than an hour, but instead it took me an entire day to film, mainly because I just wanted to lay on the floor, and trust me you guys, I did lay on the floor quite a bit before actually completing this video, but here we are, a metaphor for this year, just me laying around a bunch. Here are my favorite finds of 2021, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be a lot. I literally tore my closet apart for this. Okay, first and foremost, now the sweater vests. This has been an ongoing saga on my channel, trying to find a sweater vest that I actually like. I actually bought one halfway through the year, and I'm pretty sure it was red. It was red. It just didn't fit right. It was too tight. It just didn't have anything that I truly appreciated about it. I learned pretty quickly that the number one thing that I needed to look for when I was thrifting for sweater vests was going to be one, men's. I needed to look in the men's section, not in the women's section. And two, something that had exaggerated sleeves. That's definitely the detail you want to go for when you're thrifting that like very preppy, on-trend sweater vest. Found this in the men's section actually shortly after I moved here to Las Vegas. So I was pretty stoked about that one. And now I know that like searching in the men's section is just the key to all of that. I've actually sold a couple throughout the year since I've discovered that little trick. Next up is a dress that I have had on repeat literally since the day that I found it. It was actually gifted to me at the bins, which I'm not gonna lie, I knew this video was gonna stir up some emotions with like missing just Los Angeles in general, because yeah, that's a lot of this stuff was found in LA. So, and not to mention it was found in the apartment that I fell in love with, but you know, that's life. This dress was a Zara dress that a friend of mine handed to me while I was at the bins one day, and it has just kind of fallen into a routine in my closet. It's just such an easy piece to wear, especially if I'm just trying to throw something on but look put together. I feel like the tiered layer on it just makes it like comfy, casual, and I think you can really see it in my wardrobe this year, but I definitely have gravitated towards comfy casual. One of my major goals was to actually find out a way to work that dress into more of a put together look. Like it just, I noticed because I was wearing it so much, it did start to get like more in that frumpy category for me. It just became such an easy thing that I kind of wasn't putting too much effort into it, where I don't know, I mean, I didn't need to put effort into it. Like nobody's telling me that I have to, but it was one of those instances where I was just like, you know, let's find out a way that I can really just elevate this look to the next level. And I thrifted this Y2K Dream Bustier top. It's got a peplum finish to it, and I knew this was going to be something that I can incorporate into a lot of my wardrobe. Just wearing it with like a white button-down shirt with a collar popping out, that looks fantastic, very Y2K style, but also like on a dress like that, it can just easily elevate it and kind of bring it to like this unique new level. And to go along with that Zara dress, I couldn't not mention this Zara jacket. I featured this in one of my YouTube videos a while back just because it was such a fantastic find. I've worn it with like a lot of monochromatic looks, and it just, oh man, it is just such a cool jacket. What sold me on this jacket instantly though was the sleeve detail. It just has this like random ruching on the sleeves that just, oh man, it is just such a good jacket. I was so stoked for this one, and the fact that it was still in fantastic shape, just, oh, it's so good. Between the Zara dress and the Zara jacket, those are the two things that like, you hear people kind of discuss the fact that like with fast fashion, if you fall in love with something, you have to put in the effort to upkeep it. Those are two pieces that I will put in the effort. If like a seam unravels, I will repair it in a heartbeat because I just absolutely love those pieces. You have probably seen this in many a thrift with me's, but this is another one of my go-to pieces that I always wear whenever I'm just going out thrifting and I need something easy to throw on. I featured this dress in a video that I filmed earlier in the year. It was the Earth Day video that I made, and yeah, it's just, oh man, I had a lot of people inquire about it too, asking if I was gonna sell it, and I just can't part ways with it. It's just too good to be true. It's definitely one of my new favorite dresses. The sleeves on it, everything. It's just, oh, it's gorgeous. It's definitely a vintage piece that you keep in your rotation for as long as you can. And also, speaking of monochromatic, this seems like every year, it's tradition. That's what this is becoming, is tradition, that I have to feature a boucle nubby knit sweater. Never fails. I haven't talked about them in a little while, but Did you guys think I was gonna let you down and I wasn't gonna have one in this video? Well, you were wrong, because I found this nubby knit boucle sweater and it is gorgeous. And it actually is not the brand Side Effects. It's the brand Adriana. It's still 100% acrylic though, and it still has the puff sleeves on it, so of course it checks all the boxes. I'm actually shocked at how many Zara pieces I have this year. This is a pair of Zara denim jeans, wide leg. I've featured these many a times. I just style these pants up like crazy. They are very much the like seafarer style denim jeans, ultra high waisted, ultra wide leg, raw hem, all the things. They're just, they're fantastic. They are seriously such good denim jeans. They go with everything, and I was gonna save this for the end of the video when I was gonna do like a recap wind down, but I feel like it's just on topic right now. But the 70s are coming back. One of the things that I have tried very hard to achieve with my wardrobe, and I shouldn't even say tried very hard, like it's actually pretty easy to do when you start thrifting for vintage, because the decades kind of come and go with fashion trends. Like I think for the last maybe year and a half, 1980s fashion was very in with the strong shoulders. And now I'm starting to see a wave of 1970s fashion. And the good thing is, because I'm a thrifter, because a lot of my stuff is vintage, I can just very easily reevaluate my wardrobe and be like, oh yeah, I have that 70s staple piece that I love that I haven't gotten rid of, but maybe it wasn't heavily on rotation. Well, now it's coming back. So luckily I don't have to go out of my way to buy those new trends. I already have a ton of 70s clothes, so it's perfect. Speaking of 1970s, I don't think I would have put this in here as one of my favorite 2021 finds, but because of the fact that I just talked about the 70s being back in style, I thought I would include this one. I found this actually pretty recently, like within the last week or two, I think. But it's a space dye knit cardigan. The fact that 1970s is coming back in, these are going to be very big in the coming months, which is very exciting. And that color tone is just beautiful. It's muted and it goes with a lot of what I already have. Okay, next up is this Wilfred top. I actually paired this with the red sweater vest that I had. I think I've worn this to death in most of my YouTube videos as well. I wore it recently in my Chloe video that I did just because I love the collar on it, and it reminds me of the Puritan collars that are pretty big in the Chloe campaigns. So that's why I wore it. It was the closest thing that I had in my wardrobe. But yeah, I mean, that specific top, it's made it to my Instagram. It's just, you know, it goes with everything. And the fact that it has the Puritan collar on it, it just, it's perfection. Can't go wrong. Now, let's give a special shout out to my ever-growing belt collection. Even my family has made fun of me recently with how many belts I have been collecting. I think it's mainly because for some reason, LA was very picked over when it came to belts. Like the belt selection was just never that good. So now that I'm in like a little bit more of a chill city, I think maybe that's why I'm suddenly finding so many belts and I just can't like stop myself. Like I just keep picking up belts left and right. So yeah, shout out to these two belts, which have very quickly become some of my favorite thrifted finds of 2021. This belt in particular just so happened to be a Target belt. Like what? Target? Okay. But what I liked about that belt is the fact that there's notches all over it, so I don't have to like redo the belt in order for it to fit me. It just naturally fits. And then this one, I just thought it's so unique, and I absolutely love, one, the detail on the belt itself, and then two, the very interesting way that it like clasps together. You literally just clasp it and then you lift up the buckle part and snap it in. I have no way of dating this, but I would think like probably late 80s, early 90s is kind of the style that I'm thinking, but just super unique. I loved it. The last two pieces are, I'm not gonna lie, kind of my desperate attempt at trying to figure out Y2K style now. I mean, I did a whole video on me, you know, I'm a Y2K kid. Like, I grew up in the 2000s. Like, some of my, you know, most prominent years were in the 2000s, the early 2000s, you know, high school we're talking. So I have a very hard time grasping Y2K fashion. So for me, this was kind of an interesting challenge. I don't know. I mean, the color tones definitely aren't my favorite, but I do like the style of it. Like, I think I did a good job of combining this top, which ultimately reminds me of House of Sunny. Like, I was stoked to find this. It's got like a whimsical pattern on it. It's got the green and the black, the semi-sheer. Like, Y2K madness perfection. And then this top I found recently, it's, I featured this in one of my YouTube videos as well with the ruching on the sleeves, but I just thought this like paired over this, total Y2K style. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, the color tone on it wasn't my personal favorite. It kind of gives me a little Christmassy vibes, but overall, I really like the way that it kind of like pieces together, the way that the collar just kind of sits out. And then I wasn't stoked about how square the line was, so I just took a safety pin and safety pinned it down so it gave it like a little bit more ruching detail at the top. And I thought it was a fantastic finish. Honestly, I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. So that was my attempt at Y2K fashion. I'm still not completely sold on it, but like I'm getting there. I'm warming up to it, and I think it's something that I'm warming up to just in time for it to disappear. So there you have it. Very last piece. I don't know if I should even talk about this one, but this is the Gucci sweater that I found. I did a whole video on this one as well. I found like Gucci and Supreme all in the same thrifting adventure. I kept telling myself, wow, I'm gonna make so much money off of this, and I kept it all. But I mean, how often do you find Gucci at the thrift store? So literally keeping this Gucci for myself, which is pretty funny because last year for my favorite thrift finds of 2020, I featured a Gucci pink t-shirt that was oversized. It was super cute. I loved it. But it just cracks me up that, you know, it's like I just keep history repeating itself kind of thing. Those were all of my favorite thrifted finds of 2021. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Do you have a favorite thrift find? I'd love to hear what it is. I also like to take a moment to reflect on, you know, this year in general. I kind of correlate 2021 with some ups and downs. It was a roller coaster, I'm not gonna lie. Living in that 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles was a major challenge. And I knew going into it that it was gonna be one of the biggest challenges I ever tried to take on. I could have continued to make it work, but honestly, it was just dragging me down. Like I had to work so hard to maintain that apartment. And at the end of the day, I just had to keep asking myself, like, is that really what I want? I had a lot of influence behind the scenes on like signing the lease for that apartment. And I mean, looking back on it, I don't regret anything, but at the same time, I do think it kind of changed the trajectory for me living in Los Angeles in the long term. I do look at 2021 a lot as like a reflection on that because I pretty much spent that entire year in that apartment. 2021 was also the year that I shifted my business to focus more on thrifting for myself. I think my closet has become this like rotating whimsical closet, and it's really let me experiment with clothing. I don't have to sell myself on secondhand clothing. Like I'm already super into it and I believe in it as far as something that like, yeah, America has a waste problem, so let's just keep reusing clothing. But I think this year really gave me the opportunity to experiment with my own personal wardrobe and fashion. That aspect alone has been a lot of fun and I'm very grateful for it. 2022, I don't know what to expect. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know where I want to be at the end of 2022. I mean, realistically, I would love to be in Florida. Like, I think that's one of my major goals is to move to Florida. If it doesn't happen though, I'm not gonna beat myself up. I've made so many major changes in this last year that I'm just interested to see where 2022 brings me. One of my personal goals though, I'll be honest with you, is to style more looks and capture them and put them on Instagram. I would love to create a visual diary on there. That's one of the things that I love so much about YouTube is creating a visual diary on here and just being able to look back at the things that I've accomplished and the things that have changed. I'd really like to do that going forward with Instagram. And yeah, just, you know, living my best life, having a lot of fun, doing all the things, finding all the thrift stores in Las Vegas. Thank you so much for being on this adventure with me, and I'll see you guys in 2022. Bye.